Welcome back. I'm Krista from Plant Lux, and I'm here today to talk to you about the top vining, trailing houseplants that you have to absolutely have in order to achieve that jungle vibe, or just have some really cool pieces in your home that are, something that could hang either from a table or a bookshelf, or pretty much on any surface, or just a traditional hanging plant. So I am going to talk to you about my top vining choices. In my hand here, this beauty is one of those. Check out the growth on this. I've had this guy for, I would say, probably about a year, and it has grown from about here. I would say it was about this long, and all the rest of that is all new growth. So this is a gorgeous piece. This is called a Syngonium Pictus, and it is a really cool plant to have in your home. I highly recommend it for achieving that jungle vibe. It's a very easy care plant. The watering, I would say, is about once every 10 to 14 days, and you can pretty much pull it away from the window. It does not require a ton of sunlight, but if you want the prolific growth like you see here, you'd have it near a humidifier, and you'd have it either in a south window or a western window, or maybe even a north window would work too. I have one in a north facing window, and it's doing fantastically. Almost the same amount of growth, so highly recommend this plant. Now, a variation of this plant is this Syngonium exotica. Syngonium Pictus exotica. That's this guy right here. Now, this guy this guy I got is a very small plant, so it is shooting out some growth, and it will get long and viney like the one that you just saw. Same care requirements, really. Very, very easy care plant. You have to let it dry out between waterings. Highly recommend this as a vining option, Syngonium Pictus exotica. Now, another variation of the same family, okay, if you could pan in real quick, is this Silveri Ann. As you can see, the leaves are more silver than the Pictus exotic, or excuse me, than the Syngonium Pictus. So there's a lot more silver on these leaves. Another great option. This one, however, does not grow as fast, but once it kicks into its maturity, that's when you really start to see some prolific growth. So highly recommend this one. Now, if you can look over here real quick, this is an exotica, and this is an exotica. You can kind of see that even though they're the same plant, the Syngonium Pictus exotica, they look a little different. This one's a little bit darker leaved, and this one has a little more lightness coloration to it. So as you can see, there is a difference. If you could look at this side, seems to be a darker color of green versus, this lighter green. Still both beautiful plants. So I highly recommend the Syngonium Pictus. Okay, the next plant I would like to talk to you about is a Polonia Repens. This is a very interesting plant. Oh, did I say Polonia? Polonia Repens, or Peleonia. Peleonia. I don't know why my mind's going blank on this one. Peleonia Repens. Peleonia. Peleonia. God. Anyway, okay. So this is one particular cultivar of this type of plant, this species of plant. It's very cool. It really is a prolific grower, and the texture and the leaf structure is just simply breathtaking. I highly recommend this plant. Super easy care for plant. Pretty much can tolerate multiple lighting situations. And it will still kick out some really awesome growth. The asymmetry of the leaf structure and the way that this plant vines is incredible. I highly recommend it. It really adds a structural element to your scape of your room, or maybe the scape of like a bookshelf. I have it on a plant shelf, and it just looks absolutely beautiful. So I highly recommend this one. This is another variety over here. This is different, same plant, Polonia Repens, but it's just a different coloration. Look at the really interesting leaf texture. It's just really outstanding. Looks so pretty. Prolific grower, and it just has so much going on with the overall look and feel. Very easy care plant. Highly recommend it. As far as plant care goes, you know, I water it once a week. Sometimes I forget. It's very tolerant to that, as are the other plants that I previously mentioned. But this is a really great plant to have. You know, the more you keep up on the watering regimen and the more you remember to water it, the more it'll grow for you. And I have this in a, it's a western window, but I have my other one in a pulled way back from the window, and it's a southwest facing window, and it doesn't get a lot of sun where it's sitting because I have so many jungle-ish plants in front of it. So yeah, very tolerant to the multiple lighting situations, and watering schedule is very easy. Once a week, once every 2 weeks, somewhere in there. Okay, so let's talk about the next vining plant that is absolutely on my list of ones that you have to try out, own, have, propagate, and make more of. This guy right here is called a string of hearts. So this is a very beautiful plant. You can see, and it flowers. You know, this is the kind of plant that needs sun, okay? So you'd want to have it near a window. The more warmth and humidity you can give it, and the more sun you can give it, the happier it will be. It is a prolific grower. I just propagated this and made several other string of heart plants with it, and it's already kicked out, I would say, probably 10 inches of new growth, and I just did it a few weeks ago. So this guy just keeps on growing quite amazingly. And this is one that you'll absolutely love. Because of the leaf structure and look of it, it gives off a very romantic feel, you know, with the small, really beautiful colored leaves. So yeah, I definitely recommend that you run out and get one of these. There's also the variegated form of that. Some of them have more whites and some of them have more pinks. Those are a little bit harder to find, but I have one in my possession. I'll go get it. So these are what the variegated form of the string of hearts looks like. This is one, and then this is a different. It's the same one, it's just the one has more pink than the other. So when these guys grow into a more mature plant, they'll look like this, which is quite fantastic and exciting. But obviously the leaf coloration will be quite a bit different than this guy right here. Anyway, great plant to have. I highly recommend that vining plant. Okay, over here beside me, we have a multiple different cultivars of philodendron. I highly recommend this plant. It's a prolific grower. As you can see, it really does promise lots of growth. So this bad boy, it just doesn't quit. It's amazing. It's in a northern window, I would say northeast maybe window, but I also have another philodendron. I have philodendrons in all kinds of lighting situations, but I'm saying specifically this one seemed to grow the best because I think of the lighting situation was a northeast window. Anyway, easy grower. You let it dry out between waterings. I would say water once every 10 to 12 days, depending. Because this guy grows so much, I have to water him more. So, you know, you really got to kind of keep your eye on it. So very cool plant. This is called a Philodendron Brazil. Another variety. Oh wait, before I talk about that, let's talk about this. This is also a Philodendron Brazil, but I grew this one. Look, it's a crazy plant. I grew this one from a very small plug. And I don't know if you could tell, but the coloration of the leaves is just very fantastic. It's so different from the other Brazil philodendron. There's a lot of lemon lime in this one. But I would say, I bought the plugs probably about 8 months ago, and this is the result. Lots of growth. This one was in a southeast facing window. Very pretty. a lemon lime philodendron. So you can see how all the leaves are that light lemon lime color. Very pretty. So this is another variety. This one is called, this is also a philodendron. So, you know, same species, different cultivar. This one's called a heart-shaped philodendron or Philodendron Chorda, and it is just simply beautiful. Again, prolific grower, super easy to care for, you know, same watering requirements as the other cultivars of philodendron. So I highly recommend this plant. This plant is in a north-facing window. Pretty awesome. Look at this guy, just absolutely huge. Okay, another vining plant that I highly recommend is the very beautiful Crimson Queen. Okay, this beauty, it's a tricolor, just absolutely gorgeous. Lots of different texture, lots of different leaf sizes, but generally the same shape. Just really pretty vining plant. So again, the Hoya Crimson Queen. This is another Hoya Crimson Queen. Okay, you can see it's a little bit different, but not much. Just lots of cool texture to look at, lots of cool color variegation going on. Very pretty. Very easy care plant. I pull it back from a south west facing window, but I have these all over my home, and there's a variety of different lighting situations. I water them about every 2 weeks, but I do check the soil regularly because sometimes, you know, with prolific growth, you know, you have to make sure that, you know, there's enough moisture in the soil so that the plant is getting the energy that it needs to make more leaves and grow. This is a Hoya Crimson Princess. Okay, this is a different kind of plant. I also see this known as the Hoya rubra. It's a very interesting looking leaves. They come in kind of like a bright pink color, and then they fade to like a ruby color. But this is another vining beauty that I absolutely adore. Its waxy, thicker leaves are just fantastic showpiece quality, just really cool looking. Gives you that really exotic look, that jungle vibe that you really, if you're after that. And if you're not after the jungle vibe, you know, this is just a really pretty house plant. Lots of people ask about it, so they really love it. And I love it. I love the look of the leaves. It's really easy to care for, and yeah, I highly recommend that you go out and get one. So again, to recap, water every couple weeks. And you can have it in multiple lighting situations, but not in direct sunlight because it'll burn the leaves. This is another Hoya rubra or Hoya Crimson Princess. Looks pretty much the same, just different structure, and you know, the way that the plant grows and vines, it can look different from plant to plant. So I just wanted to show you another example of what it could look like. So another Hoya that I absolutely love that's on my top, you know, vining plants to have is this really cool Hoya Kubla Calyx. This is a silver splash, but it also has some pink, some really light pink notes in it. It's very interesting. Just has a really cool look to it, and I absolutely love it. I don't know if you can see this in the camera, but you see how it's twined around? You never want to cut these vines on a Hoya because that's where all the leaves come out. So there's all these little nubs on these vines, and that's where those leaves are going to come in. Same care requirements as the Hoya Crimson Queen and Crimson Princess that I just showed you. As far as the Hoyas go, I would say this is one of the easier ones to have, and I believe that the Hoya Crimson Princess and Crimson Queen are also really easy as far in the Hoya family to own. So I mean, that's one of the reasons why I'm recommending them. But if you wanted to keep this up and vining up and around, you could. I just left mine. But you could also untangle it and have it hanging down as well. But this is a really interesting, cool, easy care houseplant, thick leaves. This is a smaller Hoya Calyx. So just another example, really cool looking, but you can kind of see how the leaves come in on the vine. See, this one has the nub starting. Kind of cool. Another really great trailing houseplant to own is this really awesome, fun Pothos. Pothos are probably the easiest. They're also known as devil's ivy. Oops. They're also known as devil's ivy. I have several different varieties of Pothos around my home. They're just so easy to care for, and they're really beautiful. So this one is a reverting Queen Marble Pothos. I bought it that way. I liked that it was reverting. I liked the dark green with the really light white colors. I just thought it looked really cool. So anyway, it's gotten quite large and vined down quite a bit. So again, Queen Marble Pothos, fun plant, easy care for. Let it dry out between waterings. You can place it in any lighting situation that you want and it will always thrive. Obviously, the more light you give it, the more growth you'll get. Water it every week or every 2 weeks. But here's the thing with Pothos, okay? Because they grow so much, you have to keep your eye on, making sure they don't dry out. They'll speak to you. They're very, with their leaves, they'll get wilty and their leaves talk. So anyway, mine upstairs in my bedroom dries out constantly. I am watering it probably 3 times a week. I have to repot it. So that's just kind of something to think about. It depends on the type of pot that you have, the type of lighting situation you have, the amount of growth that it's shooting out, and I think did I say the size pot? Anyway, you have to really have all those variables aligned in order to figure out how much you need to water your plants. That's why you should look at it, and if the soil is dry, make sure you water it. If the leaves are wilty or looking kind of wrinkly, make sure you water it. If it looks droopy, it'll talk to you. Super easy care for a plant. Here's another variety. This is a neon Pothos, really cool looking, very neon. So when you add elements of green, vining green, bright green plant in your home, it really adds some elements of texture when you group them with different colors and different textured leaves. So I highly recommend a chartreuse or a neon colored plant, but this is a cultivar of the Pothos called Neon Pothos. So another Pothos is this very golden, I think it's called high gold. I don't know, it's a very golden gold. There's a lot of gold in it. Really cool. This one's always drying out on me, so this has kind of been a plant that I have to keep my eye on, and I think it's because it really requires a lot of water to grow these fantastically long, big, giant stems. I don't know, but it does seem to need a lot of water all the time, so I just had to water it today because it was completely dry again. So anyway, this is a high golden Pothos. All right, so Pothos is fun, really cool vining plant that I think you're gonna find that's so easy to care for that you're going to want to have a couple of them. They really add that jungle-like vibe to your home. So yeah, I have probably, I don't know how many, but I have a lot in my home that just seem to keep kicking out growth. I'm always propagating them and I'm always having fun with them. So great sort of instant gratification kind of plant. Vining plants that I recommend is this really cool, very giant Bridalveil. Obviously a plant like this is going to need a lot of water, and sometimes I miss waterings. So if you're one that misses waterings, it might not be the plant for you, but really a pretty plant. It actually gets these little white flowers on it that's kind of neat. So yeah, Bridalveil. I water mine once a week. I try to keep up with it as best I can. So the Bridalveil, it doesn't get tons of light, but it seems to do really well where it is. The dog's tail's always whacking it, so those are my propagations. Anyway, I recommend it because it has a very elegant look. It is easy and it's a fun plant to look at. So that's one of my recommendations. Tradescantia Quadracolor, and I can already tell it needs watered. It's looking kind of sad, but it's a really fast grower, very prolific grower, and it is just absolutely stunning. If you can see how just beautifully it hangs, and all of the different colors in the leaves make it for a really interesting looking plant. You do have to keep your eye on the watering. I would say, you know, water it maybe once a week. I think I missed a watering here or there. But as you can see, there are 4 different colors. There's white, there's green, there is purple, and there is also some pinks as well. So it's just really interesting, and I highly recommend this for a vining plant. Easy care for. It can tolerate a variety of lighting situations, but the window that I have mine in, I have 2 of these right now, and this is a southwest facing window, and then the other one I have it in is also a southwest facing window, but it's pulled way back. So just, there's a couple of different varieties of light, a couple of different lighting situations. So anyway, I highly recommend as a vining plant to have one of those. Very fun. So guys, this guy right here is one of my favorites. The different texture of the leaves. This is obviously a succulent. It's called a string of bananas. It's really cool. Look how fun this thing looks. Can you see it? Very long, lots of texture. This is the kind of plant that really likes to dry out. It stores a lot of water in the, in the leaves and the stems. I'm not really sure if these are called leaves or not, because I'm not like a succulent scholar. Anyway, I water mine, I would say probably once a week though, because it has so much growth and it's always growing. It is in a southeast facing window. Yeah. And so I highly recommend this plant. There's a bunch of different kinds of succulents that you could have that are trailing and vining. This is just an absolutely fun one. I don't think it's called a succulent. It's called a senniol. I'll put it on the screen. I can't remember how to pronounce it. Like I said, this is not my area. I only have one of these and this is it. So yeah, really recommend this plant. So much fun. So really is a really interesting element. Lots of eye appeal. Okay guys, last but not least is this gorgeous beauty, Monstera addisonii. Really fun trailing plant. You can also stake it up on a pole or some kind of stake. Adds all kinds of asymmetrical variety. Really neat looking leaves because of the fenestrations. I highly recommend this because it just adds that such unique texture and element that really adds flair to your roomscape. So I highly recommend Monstera addisonii. This is the wide form. Oh, the lighting for this, you'd want to have it pulled back away from a south-facing window, maybe about 3, 4, 5 feet. Or you could have it northern facing window pretty easily. It does seem to be, because it is an understory plant, it does not like direct sunlight, so it can tolerate, being back away from the window, but it does need light. So indirect sunlight obviously is the best way to go with this guy. Humidity is key for all the plants that I mentioned today. I could have just said that over and over again. Make sure you have a humidifier or humidity in your home, but I'm just going to say it once. For all of my recommendations today, you're going to want to make sure that you have a humidifier or that you have several rock trays around your house that have water in them, so that way you get humidity into the air, because that is what these plants really adore. They love having that humidity, and it will help them grow and be beautiful and thrive in your home, and that's what you want. Beautiful plants. This is the last plant I'm going to show you. It is a Monstera addisonii narrow form, and this is one of my propagations from the mother plant. As you can see, it's really kicking off to a really great start. Lots of growth, lots of interesting things to look at with this plant. I highly recommend it. It is a vining plant. Before too long, there will be several, vines just like the wide form had that I just showed you. So yeah, I highly recommend this as one of the top vining plants. So That concludes my collection of vining plants that I highly recommend, and I think that you should have as part of your collection if you are interested in any of those plants. I will provide links below so that you can hopefully find some. If not, you know, some of my plants I've bought at Lowe's or Home Depot. Others I've bought at places like on Amazon or Plantarina, or other shops on Etsy, a place called Plant Bar, which is out in my area. So, you know, just something to think about. If you have any questions, feel free to DM me on Instagram, and I'll be more than happy to help you find some vining plants. Anyway, so thanks for joining me today. I really appreciate you coming out and watching my videos. I am here for you every Monday and Thursday, and I hope that you come back and see me again real soon. If you're new to my channel, hi. Please subscribe. If you're not new to my channel and you haven't subscribed yet, please do so. It is free, and I am here for you, so please subscribe to me. All right, and if you like this video, please give me a thumbs up. I really appreciate it. So thanks for coming out today and watching my video. I'll see you again next time. Bye.